I am not easily discouraged. I readily visualize myself as overcoming obstacles, winning out over setbacks, achieving impossible objectives. Bruce Lee.
Did you read that, Magnus? Did you read it? Did you comprehend it? Did you understand it? Let's discuss this quote by the late great Bruce Lee. I am not easily discouraged. I readily visualize myself as overcoming obstacles, winning out over setbacks, achieving impossible objectives. Now, that's a man that set no limit as his limit. You've got to understand that one of the reasons why I'm pretty sure that he said this, or at least what I get out of it, is that, see, your reality isn't someone else's reality. What's impossible to you isn't always impossible to someone else. And when you think like this, these become the movers and shakers. These become the pioneers. These people that think like this become the people that raise the bar in life. They do things that no one else before them has ever done. And this is connected to my last video in wanting to achieve the best out of life for yourself. That's exactly what that man wanted. Let me give you a few examples of wanting to achieve impossible objectives. When I read that story about longevity, about the man living to be 200 or 300 years old, there were all these different, they had a couple of documents from the emperor that were official. Two different emperors, I believe, because he lives, when he got his first 100th birthday, they sent him acknowledgement on that, congratulating him on his 200th birthday. They also sent him some acknowledgement over that. Now, people can argue about whether the documents were official or not, but the fact of the matter is there are people that and races that regularly live to be 120 or more. This is normal in certain parts of the world. Okay, we can all definitely acknowledge that if you do your research. So this happens. But, for example, I remember I was speaking to one of my friends a few months ago, and I was talking about living to be over 100. And I do have strong genes in my family. I have a grandmother that's in her 80s, a great-grandmother that died in her 90s. So I know that the genes are in me for longevity. I do know that. But even if you're not sure, or if you have family members that died very early, it doesn't mean you don't have the genes to do it. Because we typically do not inherit just our genes. We inherit our eating habits, which are what kill us in reality. But I was talking to one of my buddies, and this is what he said. I said, yeah, man, I want to be 120 more or more. He's like, oh, man, I don't even want to live to be 90. If I live to be 90, fucking put a bullet in my head. Shoot me, man. Shit in my diapers. I won't be able to move. Who said that when you get to 90, all you do is shit your diapers and you won't be able to move? Do you know in Japan, they regularly have 100-year-old men? They have a saying that the 100-year-old man can do the work of a 20-year-old. See, but it was impossible to him because it wasn't the reality that he was used to. But see, I've expanded my mind since. So when someone tells me something, I don't immediately say, oh, that's impossible, I can't do it. No, I say, how can it be done? Can it be done? How can it be done? I don't say, oh, no, that's impossible. I don't say that because I know that when you set your bar really high, you will still achieve more than the man that's mediocre. Another example of achieving impossible objectives. For example, I dated this white woman before, and I was talking to her about how I've noticed that I've never read in any historical accounts about white people being sunburned in the past. I never read anything about it. And then one day, I came upon a book called The Sun Food Diet, written by a white man. And he talked about how the fruits and vegetables have natural protection from the sun. built into their, chemistry. And when you ingest them, when you eat a proper diet, you won't be sunburned. Now we know all our foods now are depleted in nutrients and things like that, much more than they were hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. And I'm going to make the judgment call, the educated guess, that that's the reason why you never read about sunburn. It's because they didn't get sunburned traveling on the high seas, because their food was more nutrient dense than it is now, and it gave their skin the protection that they needed to not get sunburned. So I tell her this, no, it's impossible. She doesn't believe me. And she was into natural health. I'm like, how do you not fucking believe me? I realize you live with getting sunburned, but just because you've been sunburned all your life once in a while doesn't mean that that objective, that impossible objective, is not achievable. You've got a man here that wrote a book that's saying it's possible. Why not at least try it? I also saw a fasting video online on YouTube, and it was a white woman that said that now since fasting, she doesn't get sunburned anymore. Now, I believe she's also eating very nutrient rich foods too, a lot of vegetables and fruits. I think that is her diet. But also now she started fasting, she says she only turns a light pink. See? So there was another way, combined with the nutrient dense food, to not get sunburn. Told her about that. Still didn't really believe me. I'm like, you see that? What did Bruce say? Achieving impossible objectives. He readily visualizes himself achieving impossible objectives. And that's how I think. Sometimes I have placed limits on myself, and when I realize that I've placed limits on myself, I knock that wall down. Okay? Another thing is, I was talking to this girl one time about aging, and she told me, well, you're eventually going to lose your hair one day, and you're going to lose your teeth. And I said, who the fuck says that we have to lose our hair and our teeth? I was watching a doctor on YouTube. He does like an eye analysis of you. You've probably seen him before if you're into natural health. I want to actually see him. He can tell what's wrong with you by looking at your eye. And he said that losing your hair, I believe, is a matter of circulation in the scalp. And you can return full circulation through specific diet and cleansing. And gray hair is because of being acidic. Now, I am living proof of the acidic thing, because guess what? I had 3 gray hairs. One in here, one here, and one here. I went on 5 weeks of fruit only. They disappeared. Alkaline. Fruit changes your body chemistry to alkaline, not acid, which is what gives you the gray hair. So I'm living proof of that, and I ain't seen them return yet. Okay? I see myself achieving the impossible objectives. You know how I tongue-in-cheek talk about immortality? I believe it's possible. I believe it's possible. Maybe not yet discovered, but when we visualize ourselves achieving impossible objectives, it can be done. It's just another message going out to y'all, And you look at Bruce himself. No one thought that there could be an Asian hero, an Asian leading man, an Asian superstar. And this man achieved more in his life than some people, what he died at 32? Than most people achieve in their entire lifetimes. Excuse me. He became the first Asian superhero, the first Asian leading man. He also became the blueprint for an action hero. The blueprint for an action hero. I mean, come on, y'all. I mean, do you see this? All the things that he's achieved, let alone what he did in martial arts and with his body. I remember when they were talking about when he went to see the doctor. He went to get a checkup. And you know how he talked. He said, doctor says, body of an 18-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. There's a video I just got done watching about, I'll try to link it. 70-year-old woman looks 30, and all she does is eat a raw food diet. Her husband looks like he's 70 plus. Also, there's another video out there about like a 70-year-old vegan bodybuilder, and he looks incredible. He's in better shape than I am. And see what I'm saying? Because you refuse, some people can't even bring it into their own reality. See, when someone says to me, look, there's a woman out there 70 that looks 30 because of a vegan diet. Just because I've never seen it, I don't say that's impossible. I go to look for it. I go to research it. I want to see how she did it. I think that it's possible. There's a lot of things that are possible in this world. Who the hell thought we would have iPads and touchscreen televisions and screens and, you know, phones that we could fit in our pocket and carry with us in space flight? All these things that were impossible. But there were always people that dared to visualize achieving impossible objectives. And that's what you all need to do. And that's what I try to continue to do daily, because I want to achieve the impossible objectives in my life. Okay? If I cannot achieve immortality, I will live as long as I possibly can and be as happy as I can and achieve all the objectives that I possibly can. Okay? Nothing's impossible in my head that I want to achieve. You understand? So if something is impossible, I'll only find out because I don't achieve it. You get what I'm saying? But you never know. Someone else down the line might achieve the impossible. It may not have been possible for me, but it might be possible for someone else. Proving that the impossible is possible, but maybe not just for everybody. Did you follow that? I hope you did. So, remember to not be easily distracted, to readily visualize yourself overcoming obstacles, winning out over setbacks, and achieving impossible objectives. 1 million subscribers. Wow!